do you want to do the intro this time?
Let me just write the title down. No, right, this is beyond a joke now. So we made the title up ourselves, obviously. And every time it comes to me doing the introduction,
Yep.
I get the first bit right.
I find it so hard, like, because my podcast, I do the same, where you do like a little intro, and that's the most stressful part, isn't it? I'm like, I can't remember this.
Hello, and welcome to the Jamie and Stephen Show. Let's talk movies, music, and magic with your host, Jamie.
Hello.
And Stephen. Hello. And we've got a very special guest.
Our first guest.
First recorded
guest. First recorded guest. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, first recorded guest.
It is the wonderful, the most magical, and the funny Sophie.
Yeah, from Most Magical Guides.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this.
And for those who've been living under a rock, Sophie has a YouTube channel, Most Magical Guides. She also has a blog, mostmagicalguides.com, and most recently a podcast, Most Magical Podcast.
Yes, all the podcast pals together.
Yes. Right, so this week's film.
What's just made me laugh? I couldn't remember the name of our podcast, which order the movies, music, and magic goes, and yet you've just listed all of her IP. Like off the top of your head.
It's amazing.
I'm professional, Stephen.
Yes, clearly.
Brilliant.
Right, so this week's film is the first sequel.
No.
Second sequel?
Yeah. Depends who you ask. So Disney class The Three Caballeros as the sequel to Saludos Amigos.
Okay, so we're not those people. So we're just going to say that this is the first one. So the first theatrical released sequel to a film.
Mm-hmm.
It's The Rescuers Down Under.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason why all the others went straight to video in the 90s.
Or is it because of Katzenberg? Well, we'll debate that later. Anyway.
Love it.
So, released in 1990. It's the 30th classic.
It's my birthday classic.
It is.
We've done yours.
Yeah, we did mine. Mine was Basil. What was yours, Sophie? Is yours Basil as well?
No. Well, I don't know. This is a hard question. I have a hard time with favourites because I'm like, it changes daily.
Oh,
no, we're meaning birth year.
Oh, my birth year. Oh, well, I was born in 1987. There was a bad year for films, and Disney released Three Men and a Baby came out, which is not an animated film.
Yeah, so you were in between Basil and Oliver.
So your first one's Oliver.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Better than ours.
Yeah, I like mine.
Isn't it? You're like, don't slag mine off. How dare you?
We like the mousies.
We do like them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so IMDb synopsis. So Sophie, in case you don't realise, like I always write down the IMDb synopsis, and then Stephen does his own.
I love that.
Okay,
Brilliant.
so IMDb. RAS agents Miss Bianca and Bernard race to Australia to save a little boy and a rare golden eagle from a murderous poacher. It's about accurate.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most accurate ones they've done.
No, see, I think mine
is
accurate. Now, it's not as, like, we take in as I normally do. So for, like, things like Sleeping Beauty was one trick ruins everything.
Yes.
I love that.
So this one was a little bit more muted.
This is a child-friendly one.
This is me actually doing a very meta,
a
meta joke, okay? A villain uses a child to get something that will make them rich with the help of reptilian beings, only to be thwarted by two mice.
Oh, that is a good one.
Good.
It is also the IMDb thing. No, it's not, but it's for the first one as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's
yes.
The exact same. A villain uses a child to get something that will make them rich with the help of reptilian creatures, rather than one, only to be thwarted by two mice.
Very clever.
Same film.
It
It's
is,
the
yeah.
same film.
That's
just not-
amazing.
yeah.
I never
They didn't
thought.
need to spend any money on marketing. They were like, it's just the same thing.
Yeah, it's like we don't need to pay a script writer. We've got a script.
Yeah, exactly.
We have used it. Just change the names.
Yeah, let's go from a swamp to a desert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. Work
Exactly. They're like diametrically opposed. Perfect.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I love that.
Right. Right, so it's an hour and 17 minutes. So we like this time.
Yes. This is the right time for it.
We agree. An hour and a quarter we feel is long enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
IMDb has got it as a 6.8 star. I think it deserves a little bit more than that, but that's just
I think it deserves a little bit less than that.
it cost
More than it needed.
so it cost $30 million, and its opening weekend it made 27.9.
Now, I've got a thing about this one. So, would you class that as reasonable? Or
I think so. But it's opening
Right.
weekend.
So, percentage-wise, it's worse than the Black Cauldron compared to its budget.
Yeah.
But the Black Cauldron is like, oh no, everyone thinks that's the worst one. It's
Yeah.
not. And yet people don't see that with this one. The figures are, I mean, this is more expensive.
Because this
than
is
the
a good
Black
one.
Cauldron. Yes, yeah.
Okay, so directors. So this one's got two. So we've got Handel Butoy.
Go on,
Butoy. He was the supervising animator of Oliver and Company and Basil. And then we've got Mike Gabriel, who we know and we will get to know right through this renaissance. He is a key player.
He's been the key player since the beginning of the 80s.
He was the story artist for Oliver, and he becomes the visual development head for Pocahontas.
So he started his animating journey on The Fox and the Hound.
Yeah.
He worked on The Black Cauldron, which is arguably one of the best films ever. He worked on Basil and, as you say, Oliver and Company, directed Pocahontas, but also worked on Bolt, Princess and the Frog, Brave, Wreck-It Ralph, Big Hero 6, and Zootopia. And just because it stars a personal hero of mine, he directed the short Lorenzo. So I don't know if you've seen that one with the big fat cat.
Oh,
yeah. The character drawn by Joe Grant. And he was actually working on that short when he had when he died, basically.
Oh, right.
So it links in with,
Wow.
Joe Grant, just for you, Sophie, he, going back to Walt's time, he actually wrote a story called Lady, which then went into Lady and the Tramp. He did a lot of concept work.
Yeah, based on his dog.
He was very big in that time, but because he had a falling out with Disney, and left animating completely for 3, 4, 5 decades.
Wow.
And then came back for the Beauty and the Beast era.
Yeah.
So we were already kind of in the studio at this time. So the fact that he's back, and he's just someone I think needs more credit.
Yeah. When I looked at Mike Gabriel, and the minute I looked at his picture, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I know exactly who he is. Because when I started collecting the DVDs, I love watching the documentaries, like the making of, and he is in so many of them. So I instantly recognised him. The other guy, I didn't.
No.
But yeah. Right, the cast. Okay, so obviously we already have done a couple of the cast. But yeah, so obviously Bernard is voiced by Bob Newhart. So for those who maybe haven't listened to The Rescuers, Bob Newhart, you will have seen in Big Bang Theory.
And he's Papa Elf in Elf.
Yes,
That's what I was going
to say. Sorry, I stole your fact.
No, I love it.
I'll cut that bit. Go for it. That. Go for it.
Okay, so let me do that again.
It was. You're right.
No, let me do that again. So Bernard is played by...
I'm doing it again. I don't know it. Isn't it?
Okay. Oh, okay. Go on then.
Guess who was originally considered for the role of Bernard?
Did we not see
No,
this?
we didn't go for that one.
Okay. Oh, I don't know.
Steve McQueen.
No,
Interesting.
really?
Yeah. And
Can't see it.
since we did The Rescuers, Bob Newhart actually passed away.
I know.
July of this year.
Yeah,
It's
this
so
year.
sad.
I know. And Miss Bianca is played by Eva Gabor, so she reprises her role, and which we talked about in the first one. But Sophie, in case you don't know, they were going to do a third, but because
I hate to do this, but I was literally about to say that.
oh, where's that? Like, go on
Unless
then,
we've all got the same facts.
Go.
It's crazy. But it is amazing to think that it must be so difficult when you are planning out these films, particularly because they take so long to make, and then the people pass away, and then what do you do?
Yeah, I'm
Like-
kind of glad that they honoured those people by not going ahead.
Yes. Yeah, and replacing them and getting someone else. Because if they've got a character that's iconic for them, it wouldn't feel right.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy who brought DuckTales back,
Yeah.
he actually planned for a Rescue Rangers reboot. And because of Eva Gabor, her passing, what they were going to do is the Rescue Rangers would have been an old society that happened and started with Basil the Great Mouse Detective. And Chip and Dale would go and visit an elderly Bernard. And Bianca is missing. And that is how they would have got around her location is unknown. She's retired. So they would have broken up, which would have been really sad.
Yeah.
Because at the end of this film, we were meant to see the wedding.
Yeah.
But yeah, they that was going to be the way around it. But it was basically just told no. He has some really random ideas that wouldn't work. But this is one that I just wish that they'd done, because that to me would have, for our generation as well.
Yeah, especially with Bob Newhart still being alive up until July.
Yeah, I mean, this is a few years ago. This is before the Rescue Rangers movie that they did.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
wow.
Yes.
Right.
I've got some more facts about Miss Bianca.
Love this.
So Eva Gabor was the youngest of the Gabor sisters. However, she was the one to pass away first. She mother outlived her as well.
Oh my God.
Wow.
But on a more positive note, and I didn't realise this before, this is a new fact for me, fact fans. Bianca is the Italian word for, it's the feminine form. So in France, obviously, we know la and le.
Yeah.
So it's the feminine form for Bianco, which means white. Which is the colour of Bianca. It's where the name stems. There we go, a little fact.
That is a good
little tie-in.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I like them.
Oh.
Wilbur. So Wilbur is voiced by the legendary John Candy. And for those who were born after 94, he was in Uncle Buck.
You know what? Yeah. We don't want to know if you were born after 94. Turn off now.
Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, Automobiles, Spaceballs, Home Alone. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah. I can tie it in with a little fact.
Okay, but I have facts as well.
Oh, sorry. See what Sophie does? Yeah, and tell her she's got the facts.
He passed away. Passed away in 1994 at the age of 43.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm sure it was a heart attack.
Yeah,
it was a heart attack. Yeah.
I've got my facts about John Candy yet.
Okay.
Have you?
Yes, but they're with the rest of the facts.
Oh, okay. With the rest of the facts.
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, well, I'll just do the one.
Okay.
I'll just do the one. John Candy appeared in Splash.
Yes. He's his boss.
It's the brother.
Oh, yeah, the brother.
Yeah. And that is the first film released under the Touchstone.
Yes.
Banner.
When Eisner came in.
No, it wasn't Eisner. It was Ron Miller.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Ron. I don't know if you know anything about Ron Miller, Sophie.
No, I know a lot about Michael Eisner because he owns my local football club, and my dad big involved with the football club. So now we finally got something we can bond over, and it's Michael Eisner.
I'm very interested in this early 80s period, so when Eisner came in, and what Ron Miller did and actually Touchstone was his idea and baby, and that was what Eisner ran with. And it's often credited to Eisner, but it's not. It's I'm flying the Miller flag.
Yeah, we did like Miller.
We did.
Right, Jake.
Yeah.
The actor is the only Aussie.
Which makes sense. Well, he's the only person that in this film that has an Australian accent, even though it's in Australia.
Yeah. He is played by the very handsome Tristan Rogers. Now, I must admit, I'm not going to lie. Jake's kind of cute. Like, for a mouse. I thought Basil was quite handsome.
I love that.
Jake.
I thought Basil was my type, and then I saw Jake, and now I changed my mind.
It's when he dips the hat. And I could go down with an Aussie accent. Yeah.
I love it.
He is very famous for a very long and still lasting role as Robert Scorpio on General Hospital, which is a soap in America.
What a name.
I know. It's like Joey's character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Drake Ramore. Yes. I wonder if it was based on that.
So basically, his character, Robert Scorpio, because I was like, I've heard of General Hospital, I'm going to see what's going on. So his character died with quotation marks, came back as a ghost a few years later, and then turned out didn't die.
Oh.
So God knows what that ghost was. And then has continued to be in the show.
Oh, yeah.
Since.
Definitely.
Amazing.
American soap character.
Drake Ramore was clearly based off of that guy, right, McLeish. He is played by George C. Scott. And for those who don't know, I mean, he's no longer with us now. He was in Patton, which is a war movie, Exorcist 3, and Inherit the Wind.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah.
So we both went quiet then, didn't we? So,
I'm gonna be frank. If I inherited Wind, I would not be impressed. I'd be like, where's the money?
Yeah. That was his last film, which was in 1999. So,
sorry, I love toilet humour, so that's just
and yes, I have written down who was originally asked.
I do have
Did
one
you
as
have
well.
the same?
Before that, though, so the animators worked on McLeish, and basically they watched the video footage of George C. Scott, and they designed the original McLeish on him. So he had blonde hair and was quite skinny and lanky.
Oh, okay.
But some people believe that's because they wanted it to look like, I can't think of his name now, but Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
A big influence on this film when
Right,
it was being made. So it could be either of those reasons because they both fit. But the animation style for the other characters are based on their actors as well.
Okay.
So it could be either.
So I found the fact about who was originally asked. There was many people asked, but I just wrote down ones that we would know.
Yeah.
So Clint Eastwood.
Wild.
Jack Palance. And Mandy Patinkin, who is from Homeland, Criminal Minds. Yeah. And they were all original considerations for the role before.
I think I read as well that Paul Hogan they were going to ask, and he is Crocodile Dundee. So it would make sense to have gone, let's get him. But they went in a different direction.
Why that didn't happen. Because at the time of this film, Crocodile Dundee 2 had come out.
Well, Crocodile Dundee is when they were planning all of this. The reason this film exists, basically.
I loved Crocodile Dundee when I was a kid.
It could be the money.
Maybe because he was big.
Because
that's true.
They've only had as a success and that was a year before this
Yeah,
film
Oliver
was
and Company.
The Little Mermaid before this.
Oh yeah.
So they've not really, we're not in the Renaissance yet. We're
No,
at that hill
yeah,
on the way up.
Yeah, we're getting
So
to the
it
top
could
of the
be-
hill.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, Frank.
Oh, I've got a few
Oh,
more.
okay.
Oh, I like writing like essays. I do. So when McLeish is singing "Home on the Range,"
Yeah.
he had an injury at that time, and he said that he can't. I don't know what the injury was, but it wasn't a vocal injury. But he had an injury and couldn't possibly sing because it wouldn't do the part justice. So Frank Welker had to come in and do the singing for Home on the Range, which is almost all he sings. Frank Welker is Scooby-Doo and Fred.
And
Go on,
Joanna.
and name of the eagle. I'll let you have a go, Sophie.
Marahute!
So yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't need to mention Joanna now.
Oh well, I've
No,
got
it's
another
fine.
one about McLeish before.
Okay, go on.
Go on. So this is at the end of the film when, spoiler alert, McLeish obviously
Falls to his death.
falls. This is fact.
Oh.
So when recording the thing, the George C. Scott actually put his head in a bucket of water, and they recorded him
Drowning.
making the noises. And, however, according to just I can't think of his name, but not Bear Grylls, but people like that, survivalists.
Yeah.
The way that he falls into the river, he's curled up into a ball. He is very highly likely to have survived that fall with minor injuries.
Oh.
So he could be alive.
Oh.
Wild.
Dun, dun, dun.
I bet you Rescuers 3, he was coming back for vengeance.
Oh, he was there. Like,
If not, you just come back as a ghost and then eventually come back as a person.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
anything's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
So the last character I wrote down was Frank, which is the little
Yeah,
lizard
I got someone else.
in when Cody's locked up.
Which reminded me of Jurassic Park. You know, when they do the things.
Yes, the flare.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is played by Wayne Robson. And the minute I looked him up, I was like, oh my God, they clearly drew him and just stuck the things
That's so
on
funny.
his head. Because he does look like his character.
That's brilliant.
He's skinny, the nose.
Oh God, and I've just badmouthed him to say he looks like one of those dinosaurs that is some spit with a big fluffy thing.
But yeah, he has been in, I think he's still alive as well. He has been in The Wrong Turn, which is a horror film, Dolores Claiborne, and he was in The Incredible Hulk. Yes.
So I have a few little bits just in the background.
Okay.
So just some of the smaller characters in the film. The nurse Mouse was voiced by Lucy Taylor.
Minnie Mouse.
Minnie Mouse.
Minnie Mouse.
Krebs, who's the koala, and I may have said that wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Was voiced by Douglas Seal, who is the Sultan in Aladdin.
Oh, what else was he in?
Oh, well, I thought he was in loads of stuff, but he's not.
Oh, but we've had him before.
We have had him before. He's done background work.
Right, okay.
But never a thing. The chair mouse is Bernard Fox, who plays the professor in the original Rescue Rangers. Didn't realise but if you Google the professor in Rescue Rangers, you're like, oh.
Is that the one that's got the Museum of Eggs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other one I got was Cody, who was voiced by Adam Ryan, who was a Norwegian actor. So because he could speak Norwegian, he was also Cody in the Norway dub.
You just stole a fact.
Well.
I love it.
Now, I don't know how you feel about Jeffrey Katzenberg, Sophie, but we have someone here who's not a fan. and you've got someone who's a bit on the fence.
Mm.
So basically, Cody was going to originally be an Aboriginal Australian.
Again, the
Person.
fact stealing.
Oh no, I go deeper.
Oh, okay.
However, so Jeffrey Katzenberg insisted that Cody would be redrawn white to make the film more commercially successful.
I know. I
read
literally,
this and I was so shocked.
I actually underlined commercial because I was so angry.
Yeah, it's that
Yeah.
word.
Yes.
Does go on record of saying in the same quote,
Mhm.
because he wanted to avoid stereotypes of races like he had seen in old cartoons. Was he doing it because, and I'm not agreeing with this, but did he do it because, white people will make more money? Or was he doing it because, well, we're not going to be able to do that stereotype, right?
But by placing the character in their
In Australia.
so their home setting.
Yeah.
And as long as they, did the research and actually spoke to Aboriginal people, then there would be no such thing as a stereotype.
No.
That's true.
I think that was just an excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really
That's
just
true.
wanted to make money.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's like Sophie said. I mean, there's only one with an Australian accent in the whole thing, and it's
wild.
And what's annoying is when you go ahead a few years and get to Pocahontas, they really went in to make sure that is culturally correct.
Yep.
They failed, but they tried because it's all.
They made an effort.
They did, but the colouring's Mexican.
I know.
So we're going to make this.
Because again, that's one I've watched the documentary of, and the Native American that they speak
chief.
to. Yes, he's the one that consults them.
Yep.
But when we get to Pocahontas,
you'll have to. You got any facts I haven't stolen off of you? Or?
Luckily, I still have.
I love that.
Okay, so facts, because there's no point in talking about the music because it doesn't really.
It isn't. There's no music. Second one in Disney history after the Black Hole.
Although it has a lovely score.
Yes, that's one of the things I love the most.
Yes, I wrote that in my thoughts.
Yes.
Like when I've watched the film and I was writing down things I really liked. I loved the music.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Right. So the producers wanted to have all the voice actors from The Rescuers reprise their roles for the sequel. However, in the original, Orville the Albatross was voiced by Jim Jordan, who died 2 years before. So Orville was replaced with the character's brother, Wilbur, voiced by John Candy. This is a reference to... Did you get this one as well?
No, I just knew it.
Oh.
The Wright brothers.
Yes, Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright, the inventors and pilots of the first functional airplane.
Do you know who suggested the name?
Who? Is it Katzenberg?
No. I get the O and the E mixed up. I'm sure it's Roy O. Disney.
The nephew.
The nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah. He suggested it and he said, we don't want to replace this character, but we think we should have this. Call him.
Well, he did something.
He did Fantasia 2000.
Oh, yes. Let's not forget. So obviously we meant, you said this earlier about...
I'll just cross that.
Yeah, we'll cross that out. Yeah, about Eva Gabor passing. That was going to be that next fact. Flying scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get this one?
No, I wrote more about the making, the getting to the point where the film is made.
So the flying scenes with with Marahute.
And then let Sophie say that.
Marahute.
Yes. We're inspired by the films of, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Hayao Miyazaki, which typically feature elaborate aerial scenes. So I'm assuming he's a Japanese film maker and is famous for, these amazing shots, aerial shots. Yeah. This was the first 100% digital feature film ever made. The animation and backgrounds were done traditionally, but all the colouring, many effects, and the final film printing was all done digitally. This was the first film produced with Disney's Academy Award-winning CAPS production system.
And you know what?
And it cut production by 6 months. Is that what you were going to say?
No. Never put that in any of their advertising.
I know.
Or
Yeah, that's wild.
like, it's only now that, well, I say now, probably in the last, say, 20 years, that actually it's become a thing about this film, how it was made, the technology, the advancement of that technology.
Whereas maybe if they used that in their
well, look at Toy Story. It was the first computer-generated film, and it's like,
if
that
only
was the
they
selling
thought
point.
to do that with this.
Katzenberg.
Yeah. No, you wrote that. You've already said that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, on its initial release, this film was preceded by the Mickey Mouse short and Prince and the Pauper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I don't remember this being before the film.
Yep.
But I did have Prince and the Pauper on video.
Yes, yeah, I've definitely seen it.
This was only the second Mickey Mouse short made since the 1950s, with the first being Mickey's Christmas Carol, which was made to accompany The Rescuers.
The original Rescuers,
but with its
that's
re-release in 1983. So, which
Oh,
was...
can you steal in my face?
I love it.
When the video was released, do you?
Right, now we're going to get to the score, right? The music. So the score was written by Bruce Broughton, and he jumped to the chance to compose it because he was a lifelong Disney fan. And you know, now this ties in with another fact. Do you know what film he turned down?
I do. I do.
Yes, go for it.
It was Home Alone.
Yes. Which also features John Candy.
It's wild.
And 3 films were released at the same weekend as The Rescuers Down Under. There was Rocky 5, I think, or 4, one of the two.
One of them.
Child's Play 2 and
Home
Alone.
It's wild, isn't it? The connections between these two films.
Like,
I know. So
Home Alone is the better film.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
Yes, yeah.
I remember when it came out, because obviously we always got it a year later, didn't we? Here in the UK back then.
I was
a baby.
Yeah,
literally.
It was
and
literally christened around the time this film.
My mum rented Home Alone. So this was when like Blockbuster was like starting in the UK. And we watched that, I don't know how many times the weekend that she rented it. But we just rewound it and had it on repeat over and over. So that was Home Alone. Yeah.
I love it. Still one of my all-time favourite Christmas films.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's up there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But yes. So the amazing composer. I mean, who did the music again for Home Alone? Because again, that's an iconic.
Do you know what?
Williams, isn't it? Or I made that up. I've made this up. Am I just making facts up now? I'm just going to start making my own facts up.
Go for it. Go, honestly, go.
I'm pretty sure it was John Williams. Let me look this up because otherwise it's gonna,
let's Google it.
Yeah, exactly. Google will know. If I didn't have an old brain chip that was connected to Google. Yes, it was John Williams. Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that.
Well done. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes.
Right, so this is classed as the least successful film in the Renaissance and the only one not to breach the $100 million mark, dollar amount. And Katzenberg pulled all the television advertisements after the opening weekend.
It made $3 million on its opening weekend. Home Alone was making money. Rocky 5 or whatever it was making money. Child's Play 2 was making money.
I know, but still, the film's definitely not going to make money if you pull the adverts.
That's true.
No, you're right.
I mean,
because of how this film, like I said earlier, it was the reason why, those sequels that we know, like Pocahontas 2 and all of those stuff, the reason why they didn't get cinema releases because they just assumed that the sequels just wouldn't do that well.
Yeah.
Well, that ties into another fact that I've got. So according to Disney animator Nikki Ranieri, Disney lost, well, when I've written Disney, the company lost interest in the film during the making after a failed reissue of The Rescuers in March 1989. But the film was already too far in production, so they couldn't shut it down, and executives decided to just finish the project and move on. So I think the fact that already during the making of it, they weren't really excited about it, and for them to so quickly throw away the money of all those adverts that would have been pre-booked is so, like, it serves them right for not making money, because it was going to be a downfall before it was even released, because there was no passion in the project anymore, all because of a reissue that wasn't successful.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I think looking at the making, the timeline of those making, we mentioned Crocodile Dundee, which is 1986.
Oh, the year I was born.
The year, yes. So basically, it was Katzenberg, that name, and Eisner, who basically, because the Rescuers were successful, wanted to do a sequel. They were like, why not?
Yeah.
Around this time, with their sequels and stuff, they were a little bit trigger happy, because Splash did well. Let's do a sequel, but just not with the original cast. We're going to make that budget a lot cheaper. And then the budget that they spent on this was not particularly high compared to others.
No.
And basically, they watched Crocodile Dundee, and because it sparked an interest in Australia, it was a case of, let's just set it in Australia, set that sequel in Australia. That is basically how this film came about.
That's wild.
And because there was so little, not enthusiasm, but like creative thing, the director, Mike Gabriel, turned it down.
Oh, originally.
He said the job didn't look fun, and he didn't want to do it because it was Peter Schneider.
Oh, he's another one.
He had asked. However, Oliver and Company had just completed production, so we're around 1988 now, and he asked him again.
Okay.
And he jumped at the chance and he said, yes, I will do that.
Okay.
So he accepted it at that point. I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but he was one of 7 people who had a trip to Australia paid for.
Brilliant.
I don't know if that's the thing.
Yeah.
So they could basically take photos, draw, get an idea of everything. They borrowed animals from San Diego Zoo. Might have got the zoo wrong, but they did borrow it from the zoo. And an iguana was borrowed, and you'll know where this is, from Walt Disney World's Discovery Island.
Oh, interesting.
And that iguana is Joanna, even though they're different animals.
Yeah.
It's Joanna.
Okay.
That's so interesting.
And I didn't write it down because I just didn't get a chance at the time as I was thinking it just while we're on Joanna, because, you know, when I talk about something, I go on. There is a type of iguana that can be trained as a dog.
No way.
Like Joanna. However, she's more likely to be the other breed of iguana.
Okay.
So there's that.
Right.
But yeah.
Wow.
See, every day is a school day. You don't have to be talking about Disney to learn something.
It's so true.
Well,
Something interesting about Joanna, and I don't know if there is a link, but I know that Disney would sometimes, if they'd drawn something, would reuse it in other scenes. But the face of Joanna, like the top part of her body, looks exactly like the eels in the Little Mermaid. Every time I saw her, I was like, you.
Yes,
Yeah, they probably are. To be
probably.
Honest. Yeah. The Flopsam and Jetsam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very similar. Yeah, just one has littler eyes and Joanna's got the big round eyes. That's the only difference, really.
They are.
They've both got teeth sticking out when their mouth's closed, the lizard tongue,
well,
the
they
long
were being
snout.
worked on at the same time, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah. I wonder if they've got the same animator. I'd be interested to know.
I know, I don't know.
No.
Because obviously
Didn't get
now...
that fact, did you?
No, because obviously now the credits are no longer at the start.
No, yeah, so you have to.
Yeah.
You don't sit and enjoy the credits at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Well, my facts are done.
Ooh.
Yes.
So I can just blurt out my
Yes.
my usual gubbins.
I love this.
So the film had 4 writers: Jim Cox, Kerry Kirkpatrick, and Byron Simpson joined Joe Ranft. Do you recognise the name Joe Ranft?
Yes.
Do you?
No.
No. Please don't ask me. I saw the look in your eye.
I was like, who is this guy?
Should I? Joe Ranft worked on Roger Rabbit.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
yeah, that's where I know him from.
I am going to be blurting out films now. Worked on Roger Rabbit, Brave Little Toaster, Oliver and Company, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Nightmare Before Christmas, The Lion King, Toy Story, James and the Giant Peach, Hunchback of Notre Dame, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Fantasia 2000, Emperor's New Groove, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, and Cars. And Breathe. His brother Jerome is a Pixar sculptor. You know when they do those. His son Geordie voiced one of the ants in A Bug's Life.
Oh my God.
His daughter Sophia voiced one of the younger kids. You know, the daycare in Monsters Inc.
Nice.
He also voiced Jacques the shrimp in Finding Nemo.
Oh my God.
Red in Cars. Wheezy in Toy Story 2.
Love it.
Heimlich in A Bug's Life.
Oh my
I'm
God.
obsessed with Heimlich.
And Lenny, who's the binoculars in
Yeah,
Toy
Toy
Story.
Story.
Now, he has a bit of a sad ending.
Oh no.
He died in a car accident in 2005. He was only 45 years old. So it was his car, and he was with 2 friends. One of his friends was driving, and 2 of 3 passed away. Cars is dedicated to him.
Right, okay.
Which is why Red doesn't speak in any of the sequels and in only one of the shorts.
Right.
Onwards, Lightfoot's address in Onwards is 313, which in America, they do the dates the wrong way around, is Joe Ranft's birthday, March 13th.
Okay.
Jangles the clown in Inside Out, who scares
Yes.
Riley, is based on the clown that he used to dress up in at parties in the studio, which was called Buttocks. And in Brave, one of the wood carvings in the background is a portrait of him.
Oh my God.
I feel very bad for not knowing who he was now.
Do you know what? When it's the Heimlich that got me. Yeah. Because I knew that I didn't know him personally. It's not like what's my mate's name? Bob. Bob Iger on eating Sainsbury's on a Tuesday. I knew that the person who voiced Heimlich had died because he also voiced Red, which is why the voice isn't in the thing is. I just didn't link it up with all the other stuff.
That's amazing. Wow.
So he was, out of everyone who we've kind of talked about so far, in the Renaissance, in the Dark Ages and whatnot, I think he is probably the most prolific at this point.
Okay.
Obviously, when we get Beauty and the Beast, and we get more people who are prolific. But I mean, Tarzan, Mulan are not on there. I can't think of any more just off the top of my head. I
mean, there's a lot there.
There's a lot there. And that's just the Disney things that he worked on, Disney and Pixar. There were shorts that he worked on and stuff. So, yeah.
Amazing career.
Yeah. And taken so young as well. Like 9 years older than me.
God. Right, a happier fact?
A happier fact. Why not? So, I like to talk about VHS releases and things like that. So it was released on VHS in 1991.
Oh, I definitely had that VHS.
It was DVD in 2000.
Okay.
And that's the DVD version I would have had. It's never been released on its own on Blu-ray, only as a double pack with The Rescuers. And it was on day one with Disney Plus as well.
Okay. I guess now that we're coming to these ones,
Yeah.
the list is going to get smaller. See, when we've done the older films, we've had all the cinema re-releases, and then what was the Betamax?
So you got Betamax, Laserdisc, VHS.
Yeah, all of them were in like the early 80s, but now we're in the 90s. It literally just does video, DVD, Blu-ray.
And actually, so Chicken Little's the last VHS.
Oh my God, really?
So once we get to that, it will basically be the original release dates. And I think it was the first Blu-ray as well.
Oh God.
I might be wrong on that one, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We've done the release when it was released. The only other thing that I have is it's the last Disney animation to be released in Spain with the Latin American dub. All films after this have a special Spanish dub.
Oh, good, because they do speak different.
It is different.
Yeah.
So that is near enough the end of my facts. I've got 2 more.
Okay.
And then we'll go into what we thought. So the Disney park, and none of us have been there yet. However, you are most likely to have a meet and greet with Bianca and Bernard in Tokyo Disneyland.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you'll use that for a tip on one of your podcasts, but if you want to see Bianca and Bernard, go to Tokyo.
I think that's another reason to add to the list why we should go to Tokyo Disney.
Yes.
2022 was the last time that they were seen,
whereas
everywhere else was the 90s.
Right, okay.
Wow.
So and they were walking around, and then they were involved in like a special event and stuff. So 2022 is not that long ago.
No.
When you think about so you're more likely to see them there. They've appeared there more times than anywhere else anyway. So.
Okay, and that would have been their 40th anniversary.
Yes, as well.
Of the park.
Yeah.
Because that's 82
I
and
think that
Paris is 92. Yeah.
And I have one final fact, which is about Wish. Now, what is your opinion on Wish, Sophie?
I haven't seen it.
Oh no!
Which is so bad.
Your face.
It's absolutely outrageous. I know. I haven't got around to seeing it, and then I keep hearing from people. They keep going, "It's not good," and then I'm like, "You're not motivating me to see it, people." And I do want to see it, but I'm letting the voices get to me.
Okay, well, I can't do this last fact then, so thanks.
Oh, no! Do it. I don't mind.
Oh my God, we'll wait till we get to Wish. We'll save it for when we get to Wish.
Okay, because this film proves what. Anyway,
do it.
No, I won't. I'll wait till we get to Wish, because I'm going to say to this. So, anyone who's told you that film is crap, just don't unfriend them.
Yeah,
exactly. Get rid of them. You don't need that negativity in your life.
To put this into context for me, my last favourite Disney film before Wish came out was Beauty and the Beast.
Wow.
There's been no film after that to top Beauty and the Beast. Wish has met Beauty and the Beast at the top. I don't want to say it's but it's met it.
Oh, Stephen.
It is one of my ultimate favourite Disney films, and the wait to get that on Disney Plus was too long.
Yeah. I'm glad I saw it in the cinema.
Yeah. But
I'm going to see this immediately.
Yeah.
Put it on top of my list now.
Yeah, honestly.
Because the thing is, with you being a Disney fan as well, you will see what we see. Like you will pick up on those Easter eggs.
Oh, amazing.
And there might be ones that you miss. Like I find ones all the time, every time I watch it. And I'm so glad my boys like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to go and see this. I feel bad for having missed out. But I think you're so right, because there was such a lull in good films for a while. And then people I know who'd seen it were like, "Oh, isn't that good?" And I'm like, "Oh, maybe it's just another one of the ones that aren't so great." But now I need to go and see it, because like you say, if they've got all these little Easter eggs, that must be amazing to see.
So there are Easter eggs that you'll get straight away. As soon as you watch it, you'll be like, that's such and such. And then there are Easter eggs, like, for example, the way her hair blows in one shot is the exact same way Pocahontas's hair blows colours of wind.
Yeah, they go to that extreme of putting those eggs in.
extreme. And there is one for the original rescuers in that. There's not one kind of based
No,
with
not for this.
this film. But if you look in different places, you'll see. You've got to watch it a few times,
Yep.
Yeah.
and you'll be like, "Oh, I never noticed that before." And yeah, we'll. Ever since Wish has been announced,
I
every
know.
podcast we've done,
Yeah.
and this is the Easter egg in Wish.
Yeah, I love that. It's brilliant. I'm really
This is very
excited to see this now.
So
Yeah.
honestly, I recommend it. I do recommend it. Like, and then I can do my fact.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know when you've watched it, and
Yeah.
then we can post it on socials, your fact.
Yes, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, because I have personally solved a mystery that no one else has.
Well, he thinks.
That's incredible.
We'll
No,
see.
it's not just thinking.
Okay.
Right? I have
You're convinced.
proof,
Okay.
and I have looked because we're on Threads. This is where we do most of our social.
Yeah.
And the question was put out there,
Yeah, well, a few months ago.
and no one knew the answer.
They
And
had assumptions.
yeah,
Oh, gosh.
and I sat there and was like, I'm going to go find this out. And there's a Disney historian called Jim Corkis.
Yep.
And to me, he's like a hero level kind of thing. Like, I really do. And it really saddened me to know that he passed away. So there is no one who fans really can go directly to other than people involved with the film.
Yeah.
So I thought, sod it. I am going to do all the research. So I read through interviews,
Okay.
and I read through. Have you seen the short Once Upon a Studio?
Obsessed. Yes.
The answer lies there.
All right. Okay.
Interesting.
Oh, Stephen.
This is
And
amazing.
that is where I found it.
Okay.
And I've solved it.
Okay.
This is brilliant.
And it would have been my last fact.
Okay. Well, not now. Your last fact was
They took a Disneyland, which links in because we've got a travel blogger,
Yeah.
and travel blogger.
yeah, so that was a good last fact, yeah. Right, so I think we kind of know what Stephen's thoughts on the film is. But let's get your thoughts, Sophie. So what did you think when you watched this film?
I liked it. I distinctly remember liking it a lot as a child, and rewatching it was so nostalgic because, like you say, it's that era of animation, and it's not obviously as good as animation today, but I really like that style of animation because it just feels so like going back home. And I also really liked that it had a lot of animals in because I feel like Disney do animals in films really well. I know that's like a weird thing to say, but again, we've kind of moved more towards like humans or maybe like aliens, stuff like that. But I'm like, bring back the animals, please, because I love the talking animals. And I
Yes.
also loved kind of this was a film where there was like an animal rights message where obviously McLeish is a poacher and like the kind of looking down on that, and it was kind of reminiscent of Bambi. And then he also kind of gave me a sense of people like Gaston and villains in the future who also were like hunters or stuff like that, where it's kind of like morally we're showing you what the villainous side of this person by their actions, because obviously in a film where there's a lot of animals, if you're going around killing animals, you're not the good guy.
No.
So I kind of really liked that element.
I have.
Yeah, exactly. I also think Bianca is a style icon. I am obsessed with the lilac hat and scarf. I actually think that's probably why she's really popular in Japan. Because
Yeah.
I'm going to go everywhere now with her. I'm going to get a little white jacket, cosplay as her everywhere I go because she's too cute. But like you said, something I really loved as well was the score. Like it's such a beautiful score, and it's such a shame that that's kind of not really talked about because, like you said, this film didn't do well. It's not one of those films that you talk about from the Renaissance, but it was such a good score, especially that opening scene where Cody is riding Marahute. It's so stunning, and the music was soaring, and I was like, "This is amazing." And, I love Joanna. I just loved the sass. I loved everything about her. And Wilbur, comic relief, absolutely loved him. And I just feel like it wasn't a successful film. It's not one that if you ever say to people, oh, The Rescuers Down Under, but I do think it was a solid film.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah, I had exactly the same things written down.
Yeah.
I was like a bit of a tomboy when I was younger. So
Yeah.
for me, for it to be like an adventure
Yes.
and a boy character and a girl character, I was really into that. And yeah, I wrote down like the opening sequence is amazing. And for me, like I can see maybe where the inspiration to the opening of Lion King might have come from, because I thought it was quite similar.
Yeah,
You know, where it's like it's there, and then as because obviously that you see the opening sequence of Lion King, and then you get the black screen, and you get that boom with the drum, and then Lion King comes up, and I thought it was similar with the drumming, and then the title comes up, and then you go past title, and you're going through the field, and you're getting closer and closer and closer, and all of a sudden it's a house. You think you're going to be seeing those rocks, but it's and it's build up.
It's funny you should say that. I've never thought of this before, but actually in the 90s, I think you could probably include Oliver and Company, where you get that scenic view of New York.
Yeah.
And then in this film, you're introduced to that scenic view of Australia. Then with Beauty and the Beast, I know it starts off with a bit of storytelling and things, but actually with Belle coming out, it's that landscape view of the house. The town. Then in Pocahontas is
you've got the ship. It opens with the ship in
does
port.
It? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, ignore me on that one then. But with Hunchback of Notre Dame, you have Notre Dame. It's almost, it's
the clouds.
Yeah. And then I had another one in my head. I don't think
they get enough credit for their opening.
Yes. Yeah.
They took a point and went with that because, I can't think if Hercules did the same. Olympus, I'm sure that's the opening.
No, it's the vase, the museum, and because it's You Go Girls.
But I mean, when you go into the story, like
Well, yeah, because then when they do the and then it goes up to Mount Olympus. So could be.
I can't have those songs on my playlist because I put this music on at work, and I'm in a little office on my own. And people just walk. I work in a hospital. People walk past my little door, and all they can hear of me on the inside, like just belting out whichever songs currently playing, which can be anything from Zippity Doodah.
Yes.
To literally, A Star Is Born.
To Gospel Truth.
Yeah. And then with Wish as well, I'm just singing all of those songs, and So with Beauty and the Beast, I can, the voice bits.
Yeah.
I can do all of that as well.
Love it.
I'm now starting to be able to do that in Wish.
Oh,
and I'm there, and I have to stop myself because I have to remember I'm in a hospital.
I can do that, to be fair. I can do that with Encanto. The opening song when she's singing about the family, and when the kids speak, and she's like, that's why coffee is for grown-ups. All those speaking bits.
Yes.
I used to be able to do the Ursula bit where she's making the spell.
Oh, yeah.
Now I've got the song in the background.
Right, okay.
But I used to be able to, but it's like, have we got a deal? As a patient to walk in past and I say, won't cost much, just your voice.
They're like, what?
What kind of treatments happening there? I mean, what was the name of that? The chainsaw?
The epidermal tissue disruptor.
I'm so glad that's not a song.
Yes.
Because I don't think I'd be at work if that was the case.
No.
But I So
getting back to the thoughts.
It's not confession time. It's nutrition.
Yeah, I like you, Sophie. I like seeing animals, and what I loved about this I loved how many different animals there
Yes.
are. And I forgot how many animals you actually see in the film.
Yes. I was kind of blown away because I was thinking, gosh, this must have taken a lot of work to kind of create so many different characters. It's wild how many animals there are. It's so good.
Yeah, really good. No, and yeah, Wilbur again. I said the same, hilarious, and like I even said to Stephen before we recorded that when we were speaking earlier, that obviously Robin Williams is known for his role as the genie, and you know it's been made public knowledge now that there was so much hours of ad lib that they could have it's like 16 hours I think worth. But from what I've read about John Candy's role in this, he didn't do as much, but he ad-libbed.
Yeah.
And obviously he comes from a very similar background as Robin Williams, and they're both Canadian.
Yep.
I mean, I think actually it's testing for, because obviously Robin Williams changed the landscape, but beforehand, because it was, and I'm going to get his name wrong, Phil Harris.
Yeah,
Baloo and Louis Prima.
Tom, yeah, and like Tom, he did Thomas O'Malley.
Yeah, and then you had Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
As Tito. And they were just allowed to kind of improv some lines, but still stick with the lines. Whereas Robin Williams just, I mean, they did design Wilbur off of John Candy, like they designed the genie off of Ross. So that's probably the biggest difference. But in terms of putting a comedian, a very famous comedian, in a booth doing a Disney character, and he was definitely the comic relief, and it wasn't too much. It was just enough. And I remember very much how I laughed so hard when he's with the mice that's trying to fix his back.
Yes.
That was one of my favourite bits as a kid.
Yep.
So and I still enjoy it now.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be about the rush. I didn't enjoy this film.
Oh, Stephen.
I wasn't hooked by it, I wasn't enjoying it. There was just nothing that got me. And then I started to pick at it a little bit. And one of the things that kind of annoyed me in this, and I had to look into it to see if it was planned or whatnot.
Okay.
It wasn't, but it was at the same time. So at the end, Wilbur was meant to be a wedding. The two mice were meant to marry, and Wilbur was meant to take them off. That was cut. Fair enough. That could have been in the third film. That doesn't bother me. But actually, what happens to Wilbur at the end of that film?
Well, he gets left with the eggs.
Then what?
Don't know.
Because the eagle, I'll let you say the name.
Marahute.
Back.
Well, yeah, she will have come back. Yeah.
It just felt. I just didn't like the loose.
It's their new daddy.
Yeah, and that troubled me even more. I'm like, so that was it. Just I don't know, and then I thought I'd missed something from the film because I then couldn't remember what happened to Bianca and Bernard. I just can't remember what happened to any of these characters.
Marahute.
I know, but I don't know. The ending didn't satisfy me enough.
Okay.
Right.
Of the ending, Joanna, the little wave, was going to put John Lasseter. It wasn't John Lasseter. It was Jeffrey Katzenberg. Said it was a bit sinister.
Oh, really? Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't like it when the white people die. The people wave. That's not good. That's not commercial.
Yes.
Just to go on to something that you said, Sophie, when you was on about they want to bring the cartoon animals back. We were watching the Disney Plus documentary about the Pixar Sparks series, the short Sparks. Actually, in the kind of computer animation world, which obviously Disney Animation's gone into, animals are apparently notoriously hard to do.
Interesting.
So I'm wondering whether that crosses over to Disney animation because
Yeah, because they used to. When you think about loads of their films, it was always animal focused. Almost all of them had so many animals in. So it's interesting they've moved away from it, and maybe it's just too difficult now.
Yeah, and obviously this will be the last animal film until
Lion King.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I was gonna say the little Bobs. Oh yeah.
3 Christmases later. Like.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
Still stands like the main,
It's
this
predominantly human, the
because
Renaissance.
then when you go later, I suppose really you've got characters in Tarzan, animal characters.
Yeah, Turk.
But then
Tantor.
after that, I suppose it's Home on the Range.
Oh yeah.
Which is very stylistic the way they do
Yeah.
stuff. So
yes, yeah.
But they're not computer animating, they're still hand drawn.
At that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas
So,
now it's
all
on the computer. So I'm wondering whether that's the reason why.
So did you give a score out of 5, Sophie?
Yeah, well, I gave it 3.5, and I think it's because it's hard to ignore the fact that you're kind of at the start of the Renaissance, and all the films that followed it, comparatively, this isn't as strong by far.
No, that's fair enough.
No, that's,
yeah. What was your score?
I put it as a 2.
Okay. That's all. I thought you were
yeah.
going to say worse than that.
No, it wasn't. It
Right.
You know what? It was, for me, it does feel like those video sequels.
Right. Yeah.
Because the style of animation is different from the original. And because they've polished it so much, it almost looks a bit cheap.
Okay.
And then when you compare it,
because it's not artistically looked at, it's not like
whereas I know the backgrounds are and things like that, and it's almost like they're kind of halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they know what they're going to do. They know what they can do. You can compare it to like Beauty and the Beast with that chandelier scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a year later, and that is so much more powerful than a lot of this film.
Okay.
I wonder how much of this is because they kind of halfway through just couldn't care anymore. I'm like, just get it done.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. Now, especially with what's to come.
Yeah.
And obviously, they've had the success of Little Mermaid, and they're still trying to finish this up.
Right. Yes.
Because Little Mermaid was November 89, and this is October.
November.
Is it same November? So a year. So it would have still been in production when Little Mermaid was released, and obviously we know that was a hit.
Yep.
They must have just been a bit deflated and just thought, especially with Beauty and the Beast coming out.
When it comes to one of the other films, I think it might be The Lion King or Pocahontas, but basically they kind of, in their mind, because Little Mermaid you got a spider on you?
Oh no, it's just a fly or something. Yeah. Came right up to my face.
He's been listening. He's like, she really likes the animals, so it's fine.
And the basically when it came to like the a little bit further down, in fact, it might be Aladdin as well. But basically, they were trying to work out what
was going to be the hit.
Was what makes these films a hit.
Be where they would go to work.
And Little Mermaid is a love story. Beauty and the Beast is a love story. So you need to shoehorn love stories into all of your films.
Yeah.
And I think it was Pocahontas where it was a case of, no, that needs to be a love story, or we're going with that because it is a love story. And I think that's where this probably doesn't fit out, because the relationship between Bianca and Bernard is not the story.
No,
that's
the missing
true.
boy. Yeah.
And the missing boy aspect isn't as fun.
It feels more like, when you have like the earlier era of Disney, it feels more like that sort of storyline. Like it would fit in with like the Fox and the Hound type era sort of thing. Like, this little adventures and like the humans interacting with their animals, like you say, rather than a love story.
Yeah.
But I like the animals.
Yeah.
I just.
Well, I gave it a 4.
Yeah.
I did. I gave it a 4. I have a lot of really good memories of this
Yep.
film. I mean, I had the McDonald's toys.
Yes.
And
I
in
love
fact,
that.
I still have my Jake somewhere. And his
I bet you do. It's
Wow.
probably in that little drawer by the
His
side of your cupboard.
tail, I mean, you wouldn't get away with it
Right
now. You don't get away with it now because it's got wire in it because you could bend the tail.
Yeah.
Yes, some of the early ones did have.
Yeah.
I think the original
So-
Rex has
Yeah.
wire in it.
So yeah, but yeah, so I gave it a 4. And like Jacob came and put it on again, which I said to you earlier, and I was watching it again. Like I didn't feel like, oh, again. It was like, oh, okay. Like I was happy that you picked to watch it again. So
Perfect.
yeah.
I
No,
think
give
it
a
just
4.
missed the mark for me.
Okay.
I think that's where it...
Should it be remade into a live action, Sophie?
I don't think anything should be remade into a live action. I just think come up with an original idea because I
Yeah.
just think the live actions have never been that good, and I think just
Oh,
like let people be creative. And I actually think on a bigger scale, I actually think this is where Disney's going wrong as a company because it always used to be imagination led and the money followed, and now they're chasing the money and sacrificing everything for that. And then you're constantly getting films that don't do very well and stuff like
yeah.
that. Like, let's go back to the old days.
Yeah, totally agree.
I think they definitely have, like, one thing I will say with this film though is the technical achievements are
Yeah.
completely, and I think actually they should have focused on that a little bit more,
Yes.
because when we've gone through what films, we've been doing this for nearly a year now, where we've recorded
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
50 years worth of
Yeah.
Disney films, and the technological advances always improve the film.
Yeah.
And what Disney have done really, really well, and Disney themselves said we keep moving forward. And I think they've stopped moving forward.
Yeah.
And I think that is true of, just like you say, the bigger picture of Disney, even with Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars,
Mhm.
the live actions, the animations, and Pixar. I think they've just stopped. And I think for me, probably about a decade ago, I'd be really annoyed that Disney's got all of this IP and they don't use it. And why don't they look backwards? And why don't they you start using some of their older things and stuff? And now they've started doing that. It's almost, I'm just one of those fans that are never happy, but it isn't. I can understand why they never did now, because I'm enjoying the plans that they've got with, like, the Lion King version of Splash Mountain, and I enjoyed that kind, because they're looking back and they're doing those. But when it comes to the films, I just think that in a decade's time, what are the kids now watching those films going to fondly remember?
Yeah. I was actually having this conversation with my friends the other day, and she was saying Disney is not popular with Gen Z at all. But she's like, that's also because they haven't had any big hits that have come out in their childhood. So if they had a parent that liked Disney and showed them a lot of the older films, they really don't connect with it. And then that could bring challenges for Disney down the line, because who's going to visit the parks and stuff if you don't have an audience?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like Ben's sister, a lot of her, she was born in 95.
Yeah.
And a lot of her favorite Disneys are older ones.
Yep.
Because her mum had them on video. Now they're not into Disney like what my family were. They're into it now.
Yep.
Because of me and because of the boys, as well. It's like they'll use the boys as an excuse.
Yep.
But yeah, unfortunately, that 2000 era, was not great. But at the same time, I can't wait to get to it, because
I think
it's going to be so much fun.
Yes.
All those facts and
I just think in 10 years' time there's going to be a bit of a, because I've connected with Wish, so I can't really count that, but I have not connected to a Pixar film that hasn't been Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Haven't connected to a Marvel film since Endgame. I did really like Doctor Strange and the Spider-Man, but again, they brought in characters from the past.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that's talks to my generation because I watched those actors play those roles like
Yeah.
and now when you have a look on like I mean we've just finished X-Men 97, which is based 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine being a child. You know, if we were here now, would we get excited about TV programs that were made like Mary Munger and Midge? Would we be
Yeah.
obsessed with that? You know, films made in the 60s for kids, you know, would we care about
Yeah.
those? You know, we don't
Yeah.
as a generation, we don't feel connected to those unless we've got memories with our parents. And I just think that kids now just don't with Disney. Whereas, you know, my sister was born 2001 and she's Minions, Despicable Me, Shrek. She does like Marvel. She does really like Marvel. And there's just nothing that Disney will draw her in with.
I think that's why as well Disney adults get made fun of.
Yeah.
And they're hated on because I think the adults are probably all about our age and a bit older, and we still remember when Disney was good.
Yes, living through that like second golden age was incredible.
So holding on to that, you know, younger people do look at us weird because they don't get it. But yeah,
I wonder if that's why both of your scores were higher than mine, because
maybe
the first time I watched this was on DVD when it came out. The Disney Store, so 2010.
Yeah.
So
possibly
I don't have a connection to this like I do to the ones that I've watched before.
Yeah, because I watched this more than the first Rescuers.
See, I watched the first Rescuers more than this.
Because I had this on video before the first Rescuers.
Yes.
So because my Rescuers video was pirate copy.
I love that.
And it was really bad.
Yeah.
Like the swamp scenes were almost impossible to see. So yeah, for me, Rescuers Down Under was the Rescuers film.
Yep.
I had a better connection to that than the first one. So yeah.
It's really interesting.
I know. But yeah.
I definitely think, like you say, the films that you saw as a kid definitely resonate more because there's something about it that's so nostalgic and just like obviously, like I say, it wasn't as big as the other films, but that whole era of Disney was just so iconic. So, and like I say, like for me, watching this immediately, it was just seeing that style of animation and being taken back to when you were a kid, and that's what all the films look like. And I was like, oh my god, it's so good.
I know. Right. I think we'll have to end it.
Yes, I don't know the time because
I think
it's probably like 4 hours long. But
it's after 10 o'clock. We've gone over the 2-hour mark.
Oh. It's good. It's so much fun. It's been so interesting, and I've learned so much.
Oh, I'm glad.
And it's great to get like a deep dive into the films because it's so easy just to watch a film and you're like, okay, that's nice. But when you find out like everything that goes into it and the facts, it just makes it so much more interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're very much like, and it goes back to what we've said previously and earlier on in the podcast was like, I'm assuming this is no one's favourite film here. But like, for example, with me, with Beauty and the Beast, I know so much about that film.
Yeah.
But then I also thought that I knew so much about the Disney hotels at Walt Disney World because of all the. But then I didn't know there was a whole restaurant in one of them.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, like you said, there's always stuff you find out and you're like, oh, I've only just found out about this.
And obviously, because we've got the internet,
I
think people are able to get a lot more access to things, like if they go digging.
And I think that's why, you know, I mean, we all do like content for Disney, but we do it in different areas. Yes. But you know, when you start looking at it and talking about it, I mean, this is probably the wrong film to use this as an example. You know, if you were here when we do something, say, with Beauty and the Beast,
Yeah.
you know, you might be able to go, well, actually, the
Right,
cast,
yeah.
you know, Beast used to do meet and greet and sit with you on photos. Now he just walks up and down the middle for 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, I
But
have
it's
heard about that.
a different aspect of the film that actually, you know, it gives a whole
Yes.
thing. So, you know, if you'll have us, we'd love to like
Yes.
have you back and
Yes,
like,
Oh,
that would be
yeah,
so much
definitely.
fun.
but with a
Yes.
film that's in the parks.
Because,
So
like you say, it is
that's
more interesting now when you have so many films in the parks, and it does bring them to life. Like you get to physically experience them, and it really does take them to a next level.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
it's
I think Ratatouille is a good example because I don't like
Yeah.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille's
I
one of
know.
my ultimate favourites. I
And
love it.
yeah, I have to watch it all the time because of
Yes.
Jacob.
Yes.
But yeah, that part of the park is
Yeah.
probably my favourite
Amazing.
because
So stunning.
everything that whoever
Yeah.
designed that area,
Yeah.
if they haven't already had some sort of award or pay rise, then they
Yeah.
should, because it's definitely one of the best. I mean, the fact that
Yeah.
you walk past Buzz Lightyear and it changes, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I'm in Paris.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
exactly.
smell, the music, the French
and you know what?
exterior.
I will
Yeah.
say they've not been able to capture that in the Walt Disney one.
Yes, it's funny, isn't it? There is a difference.
Yeah.
You definitely don't feel the same. Like you don't feel like, oh, this is France.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
So yeah, as I say, it'd be lovely to have you back
Yeah,
for
I'm so excited.
yeah, it'll give a new aspect of a film where we can learn facts.
Yeah.
Yes, that'll be so fun.
So yeah.
Well, Sophie, thank you so much
Yeah.
for being our first recorded guest.
Yes.
It's so exciting. Thank you for having me. It's been such a fun time.
It's been
And
amazing.
again, so for those of you who want to know, so it's Most Magical Guides, mostmagicalguides.com, and Most Magical Podcast.
You've got a
And
great memory.
yeah.
To bring it full circle to the back,
Yeah.
to the beginning of the podcast when I couldn't remember the times.
I love it.
So yeah, and for those of you who've listened, thank you so much. And if you get the chance, please leave a review.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow us on
Threads.
Yeah.
Instagram. Our podcast is on YouTube as well. And
you have
wherever
TikTok?
you. Oh yeah, we are TikTok now.
Yes.
So yeah.
I'm of a certain age. TikTok is a crocodile to me.
I love that.
I'm on TikTok. It's like, oh, you better be careful.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Look what happened last time.
On that note, Sophie, if you wouldn't mind doing the honours with your quote.
Okay, perfect. Until next time, I hope you have a most magical day.
Yay!
TTFN.
TTFN is iconic, and everyone needs to say it at the end of every encounter because it's brilliant.